Hi guys, I could have filmed 20 videos in the time I was trying to set up my new mics, but they're out of battery, so we'll do what we can with the camera audio. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Aoife Long. I am a branding and photographer and designer here in Ireland. It is a beautiful sunny May day, and yeah, on this channel we are just starting out, but we talk about the philosophical concepts behind brand and design, behind sharing your work online, and yeah, thinking a little bit about the image that you present and the way that you're inviting people in to work with you or engage with your ideas. So yeah, yesterday we talked about spiral magic, and I've been seeing snails everywhere today. They're just, yeah, it's really beautiful. What do I want to talk about today? I guess it's sort of the tension between rest and forward movement and aligned action when you're building something. Like, I live in this tension, and you can frame it in the kind of language of, masculine and feminine energy, and, that we want to relax into our feminine energy to actually receive the ideas and to create from that place. I have a little audience. But that also has to be paired with the masculine, go do it energy. Nothing moves without a little bit of aligned action and some magic. It's a combination of the two of them. And yeah, kind of living into that tension and realizing everything is a mirror. Like, take YouTube for instance. Like, I have been doing daily videos for 5 days now, and it lights me up. It's beautiful. It's giving me this very structured container to actually share what I'm thinking about and what I'm creating, and that is a beautiful gift to the feminine if you can actually set up those structures. In terms of the chlorophyll container that I have been, I don't want to say putting myself through, but that I've created for myself, it's all about stripping things down, creating those structures. So every time I welcome a new client on board, I don't have to panic and think and question myself and is this professional enough or whatever. We just have the structure, we have the templates, it's ready to go, and that sort of stuff eliminates so much of that mental chatter. And another thing I've realized over the past couple of months is the amount of calories that indecisiveness uses. It's actually wild. Like, it's so much more efficient on a biological level to close those tabs, to simply make a decision and move on. It's just way, way more efficient, and so often I guess you could say that's a little bit of, I don't know, maybe wounded masculine energy or something, like the inability to actually make a decision, and admitting that as, we're developing and we're moving through that spiral, we're moving towards a more mature, embodied version that has good boundaries and that is able to make a decision based on data and intuition and can deal with the consequences of whatever that decision is and trusts it, There's a power in becoming that person. It's you're a different person. You engage with the world very differently when that is your set point. And that's another thing of growth, realizing that you're not the person who made contracts previously. Some of those unwritten agreements and contracts need updating. You're no longer the underdog, you're no longer the beginner business owner, you're no longer the baby photographer who, you're changing that, and you want to be met and recognized with respect, as always, but you're moving differently and people will react differently. Something I've been talking to a lot of clients and friends, and yeah, it's just been a theme of conversations lately, is that there's a lot of change in the air. We all know it. I'm sort of taking advantage of it, because this isn't my first rodeo, and I know that this sort of change is a really potent way to reinvent yourself. It's an opportunity while everybody else is distracted. You can kind of withdraw and come back as a new and improved person. Like, I tend to do this in terms of like a little bit of withdrawal, regrouping, and coming back with something new to share. But in this chaos, and in this time of a lot of change internally and externally, people are realizing that they feel undervalued. I think that's what's underlying a lot of these decisions of people changing jobs and moving and, ending relationships and, whatever it is. But that's one of the core things that's underlying it. It's feeling undervalued, and they're seeking clarity. I think a lot of people are seeking clarity. I know I am. I have been listening very deeply, and I've gotten some answers for myself anyways. But it's leading to a lot of people wanting to rewrite these contracts and wanting to show up as new and improved versions of themselves. Not everybody's going to like that. The flip side of that is that you're going to have to learn how to set boundaries. And that's an interesting conversation. And that's one of the things that happens when you either start a business or simultaneously and start to invite people to work with you in exchange for money. And you will be very clearly shown where you have some shoddy boundaries, and you're going to be given an opportunity to clean that up. And it's going to make you a different kind of person, but it's going to make you the kind of person who can handle who can handle business, and there's just a huge wave of people who are wanting to say, hey, this is who I am now. And they're starting to look for branding, and they're starting to look for imagery. It's an interesting place to be, having been in this space for a little bit, and having walked a lot of these paths, where people are now like, where do I begin? And I think from my perspective, it's begin with creating those structures that make you feel safe enough to express yourself and to truly create. I think all my advice would probably boil down to that. And for you, maybe it's as simple as actually finding an accountant, who you can talk to and who you can be honest about your dreams and what you're calling in, and get some structure in place. Maybe talk to a lawyer about drafting some contracts so you feel safe and held in your exchanges with people who come and work with you. And maybe it's time to set up a bit of a devotional practice to actually sharing your voice. Yeah. It's all one big spiral. And there's definitely a theme as well of dealing with collapse in the face of your own power. And that's something to reckon with, and you'll get better at realizing it. But we'll talk about that tomorrow. Thanks for watching.